Oh my God, these feelings just begun.
All right, welcome back to our channel, Better Off with OT in Billings. Today we're welcoming Dr. Briggs, an assistant professor here at the Rocky Mountain College OTD program, and she's also the fieldwork coordinator here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you on our channel. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. This is exciting. I'm happy to be here.
Good. So could you tell us a little bit about your role as a fieldwork coordinator?
Certainly, yeah. So my job on our team here in this department is to make sure that all the students have level 1 and level 2 fieldwork placements, so we can meet the requirements not only for you to become future practitioners, but also gives you that experiential component to your learning. And so I spend a lot of my time making connections in the community at large and across the country, working on finding, fieldwork placements that are advantageous for you guys and for your learning.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for all the work that you do as our fieldwork coordinator.
Certainly,
We are
yeah.
very, very pleased with that. So what inspired you to become an OT in the first place?
That's a great question. My OT journey is not as, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as familiar as most people's. So when I was a junior in high school,
Okay.
yeah, this takes you way back.
Starting early.
I was a junior in high school, and I took an interest inventory with a guidance counselor, like what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And the first two things on this interest inventory, the first one was a bus driver. Now, to put that in context, I was a junior in high school, so I was 16, just got your driver's license, and then when you look at the occupations that are most important to the people of that age group, it's social, right? And so the bus driver thing was number one, but number two was occupational therapist.
That's awesome.
And so that summer, I went and shadowed an occupational therapy assistant at the local hospital in Glendive, and I thought, yeah, this is really cool. I'll do that.
Wow.
And that's pretty much what I stuck with. So I declared my major as a freshman in my undergrad, and I just stuck with it the whole way through. So that's kind of my journey to OT. It was an interest inventory when I was a junior in high school.
Bus driver, OT.
OT. Yeah. Well, and I took it home to my parents. I'm like, Mom, this is awesome. I'm going to be a bus driver. And they're like, yeah, no, you're not going to.
Shoot a little high.
You're going to college, and that's not an option. So, yeah.
That's incredible that you discovered that so young.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us took a longer path to find OT.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So what brought you back to Montana?
So I was born and raised in Glendive, which is about 200 miles east of here. It's on the other side of the state. There's no mountains there. It's the Badlands. And so my family is still there. My brother and his family are there. My brother's an optometrist in Glendive, and my parents were both in education. So my mom was a financial aid director at Dawson Community College in Glendive for over 30 years, and my dad was a high school shop teacher for 43 years. And so my family's here, I was born there, and so I've always had Montana roots. So coming back home was really important to me, to be able to kind of like introduce my son to, a lot of the cool things that I got to experience when I was growing up. And so it was always a plan. I mean, we were in Texas for a long time, but it was always a plan to make sure we got back home. And so, it was meant to be.
That's great.
I'm a Montanan.
Yeah,
there you go.
Got to get back to your roots.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So as a practitioner here in Billings, as a home health practitioner, what are some of the barriers that you face on a day-to-day basis?
That's a great question. So I work PRN through Riverstone Health, seeing home care patients here in Billings in Yellowstone County, because Riverstone serves Yellowstone County. I think the biggest barriers are just there's not enough of us to be able to do the work that we need to do. I feel like, having this OT program here in Billings is going to add more OTs into the market per se, and be able to expand our services to people who really desperately need it, because there's just not enough of us, to be able to do the work that I think we can do. I think that's the biggest barrier, is just having enough time in the day to be able to see everybody that you want to see and do the best job that you can. And so having more, foot power or people on the ground to be able to do that work, I think is one of the biggest things that would be really advantageous to the people of this county and of this region. I think that would probably be the biggest barrier. for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's extremely important with your role as a fieldwork coordinator. You said like contacting a lot of different states and
Yeah.
facilities that could take us as students. So how do you approach that, advocating for the need of OT in certain settings and populations? I mean, that's a big role.
challenge.
That's a great question, and I love that you asked that question. I feel like I was built for this role. Like what does Dr. Kirchen call me and everybody else on the team? If I'm an extroverted introvert or introverted extrovert, I don't know. Depends on the situation. But for the most part, like, I love networking. I love talking to fellow OTs, and the world of OT is small. It seems huge, but once you start making connections, it's small. And like, that's kind of my favorite thing about it is like once I meet somebody or make a connection, I'll never forget that person. I typically never forget them. And so, reaching back out to them and continuing that professional dialogue and trying to make sure that I can, use that to the best of my, abilities. And that way it makes a good opportunity for you as students, And so that's my favorite part of this job. I've always loved talking to people and meeting people from different places and making those connections. And so that's kind of like the foundation to my role, I think, as a fieldwork educator. And selling OT, easy.
Yeah.
I'm not biased or anything, right? But I see obviously the advantages of OT in pretty much everything that you do every single day. And so being able to talk to people, and I say sell loosely, obviously, but being able to talk to people and educate them on the benefits of OT and how it can help your agency and the people that they serve is probably the most, rewarding part of my job and the most important part of my job. And so in that regard, it checks all those boxes for me because you have professional goals in your life. And so like I've always felt like there needs to be OT everywhere. Like I look at it through the lens, like if I pick up a newspaper article and they read it and I'd be like, oh, well, that person could really use an OT. Well, being the fieldwork coordinator, I get to do that. So like if I see that a certain situation or a certain agency could really benefit from OT, then I remember those ideas and then I try to come back around and contact those people and those sites and see how I can make those puzzle pieces fit together.
Yeah, that's incredible. You're finding gaps, where OT is needed and fixing it. And I think that's awesome.
That's great.
And we're very grateful for all the work that you do as our fieldwork coordinator and your networking skills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's awesome. I'm glad you guys are grateful. But
oh, of course.
I'll take that. It's hard to graciously just acknowledge people's gratefulness, but like it is a part of my job, and I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So a lot of people in the Billings community don't know what occupational therapy is. So
Right.
what is one take-home point, like your elevator speech about OT, that you might pitch to somebody who you're trying to get OT into their site?
Great question. Well, of course it would be situational, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is my elevator speech would be occupational therapists help you live your best life. And, we work on trying to ensure that you can safely and that's a loaded question. Easily and seamlessly be able to participate in the occupations that are most meaningful to you, or occupations that are necessary for your ability to be able to progress in life. So like when you think about it across the lifespan, children versus adults, they all have varying occupations, but being able to explain that to other agencies and other individuals that don't know what OT is, that's what I would say, is just like anything that you feel like the clients that you're serving, in your agency are having trouble with, OT, we're pretty good at bridging that gap and being able to identify where some of the limitations may be from being able to have them not participating to participating. That's what we specialize in. And then the other really big part that I'm sure you guys have heard me say too is that therapeutic use of self.
Yeah.
I really have always believed that occupational therapists on the interdisciplinary team are that profession that have an acute awareness of how to use the interpersonal relationship components and characteristics to be able to help somebody be successful in their life. And that, I think that is the other really big piece that I like to make sure people know about us.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
and just,
you.
Yeah, giving us your time to talk about OT and what inspired you. And it was amazing to have you on. So
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Briggs.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. This is really exciting. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Hey, good.
Oh my God, these feelings just begun. I'm saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done.